Greetings to everyone watching and listening to this. Welcome to CHEZUBA Talks, a podcast dedicated to sharing compelling stories of hope, determination, and humanity. A warm, affectionate hug from a loved one can alleviate an entire day's fatigue. Medical research has documented that almost 80% of our health related problems are caused by stress. Physical touch is fundamental and vital to human communication and bonding. Hello, I'm Paige, host of CHEZUBA Talks, here today with an interesting guest, Paul Bucky, founder of Just Touch, a revolutionary technique that he says relieves many medical ailments. Welcome, Paul.
Welcome. Thank you for having me, Tej.
This is fascinating indeed. It is a well known fact that touch is an essential part of nursing and one of the major means of conveying support. What is this bio touch that you speak about, and who can give this?
Yes. So BioTouch, we call it BioTouch healing, is a very simple healing technique, and it uses the index and the middle finger of each hand. And what we do is we lightly touch on the skin a series of points to help relieve stress, relieve pain, and relieve symptoms of disease. And those actually were found with the research that we did with major universities. And anybody can do it. What's beautiful about this healing technique is there are no levels, there are no belief systems, there's no centering. If you're a human being living on this planet, you can do BioTouch. That's how simple it is. And our main goal in the organization, which is a nonprofit organization, and we're based out of Tucson, is to actually teach people, especially families, to do BioTouch right at home. You don't need a special place, special table, special equipment. If you're a human being, you can touch another human being and notice results.
It's that easy.
It's so simple. It's almost like we had a talk yesterday. It's almost spooky how simple it is. Yeah.
It's not too good to be true.
And what's nice about this technique is I met the man who created the system in Colorado. He was a mining engineer. There was no hoopla. Like I always say to people, there was no incense burning or whale music. There was no tingling cymbal. It was just it was in a little town in Colorado, and I had a back problem, and I went in with this back problem. And back in those days, I was what they call a hippie. So I had the big long hair and cut off jeans. And this guy was actually an ex-Navy guy. So big burly chest, tight white t-shirt. And really we had a difference in philosophy. But when he did the touch on me, the pain I'd had for over a year went away after a couple of sessions. And then I started to hang out with him as he worked with people, he and his wife. And people came from all over the Four Corners area in Colorado. And you had many, many people there who wouldn't usually talk to each other on the streets, but were coming here to get touched and to feel better. And the interesting thing is, one old timer said to me, Norman and Carol brought love to the Mancos Valley. And I thought, wow, here's just a simple application of love by touching another human being, and bodies were getting better. And so I sort of became the stooge to say, we need to get this out to the public. And that was in 1989 that we started to get it out to the public. And we've been doing that ever since, freely sharing BioTouch with humanity.
Beautiful. All right. So is this like Reiki? Is it like, touch points? Are there points on the body which you can?
I would have to say, in relation to what we're calling healing work, that's very popular nowadays, especially what we're calling energy work, they're all really the same. They're utilizing something within one human being to help another human being. And that's about the only thing that's common with us in things like Reiki, therapeutic touch, healing touch. because all of those techniques actually have levels. You have different levels that you have to learn. Many of them you have to be taught or initiated by a master. Also, most of those techniques were designed not to really touch on the body. They were to do off of the skin. And BioTouch sort of goes against all those ideas. Again, we don't have any levels. There's no initiations. It's all taught in a little manual that we have here. Too bad it's backwards, but it's all taught just with simple little diagrams and points that we show you. There's only 17 sets of points. And again, you don't have to center yourself. You don't even have to be an all-kind loving person. I even say to the teenagers, even jerks can do this. And I've proven it because I'm a really big jerk myself. So it's nice that there's no, if you're a human being with all of our stuff, I mean, many times we're angry, many times we're frustrated, many times we're happy and holy, but we're all of those things. So to have to put certain things away on the back burner, like my anger, no, you don't have to. You can go into healing, help work with someone, even if you're having a bad day, because there's no intention either. That's a difference between us and a lot of these other techniques. All you have to do is the points, and the rest of it happens by itself.
All right. When you speak about healing, you're speaking about physical healing, right? You're not speaking about any mental illness or intangible, diseases.
Well, we address the body. Okay, we don't mess with people's spiritual or emotional life, but you can't separate the two. And of course, what they're finding out more and more, especially as we move into quantum physics and things like that, all of our ailments in our body, all of our pains, all of our stressors are actually, as you said, stress related, can be emotionally related. Many of our traumas, if we had physical abuse, even as a young person, is held in the body. The cell memories of that trauma is in the body. So when you can address the body with its pain, many times you unpeel the deep emotional, psychological trauma. So yes, we have seen a lot of people who are going to a psychologist or a psychotherapist, and they'll start getting BioTouch, and the psychotherapist says, I don't know what you're doing, but we're really moving forward quickly here with your therapy, so keep doing it. So BioTouch seems to open us up to both our body, mind, and spirit healing, even though we just address the body.
Beautiful. Okay, so it's like a domino effect. You always have something that
Sure.
affects the other, right?
Yeah.
When you're talking about BioTouch, obviously it is the touch that is, important. So during COVID times, did you have challenges?
Yes. Good point. So our main goal, of course, is to get BioTouch into the families. So actually during the COVID pandemic time where we were all locked down, we had to close our center. We actually really took off with virtual trainings. So we could go into people's homes, teach families how to work with one another. Now, for many of those people who were alone and couldn't get out, we actually started to say to people, since BioTouch is one person touching another on the skin, what we did, because it's about relationship. Healing is about relationship. So many times people say, well, can I work on myself? We become so paranoid of touching and intimacy that, we want to think, oh, heal myself. So what we did in this particular instance is we said to people, if you have no one around, then take those same points and start doing the points on yourself. But what was important was think of somebody, whether alive or dead, who is doing those points on you. And so it kept that relationship going, because if you try to heal yourself, you get into this loop, and you get into this loop of, well, if I'm not getting better, then I'm not a very good person, or it's hard to heal ourselves like that. So in the pandemic, we just had people picture someone working on us or picture ourselves touching somebody else, even though it's most consistently effective when you can actually reach out and touch another human being on the skin.
So it's basically human beings. So a robot cannot do what you are doing.
Well, who knows with the new metaverse?
You know, the technology.
You know, we're starting to create through I just saw that they have these blankets that they can wrap you in, and and I can hug you over there in India, and you can feel me. So, we're not adverse to that. If you can put on this thing and I can practice doing BioTouch on you and you can feel the points, you know something, we really get to the point of what is reality, what is a touch, and if we can do that through the metaverse and touch more people around the world, that's okay with us. If people feel better and they have less stress, there's a new thought form out there that you can change the cell memories, even if it's a genetic problem that you have, that your parents had and their parents had. That can be changed. You can be the last generation to hold on to a particular trauma or a particular pain, or like they say, I might have diabetes. Well, my parents had it and their parents had it. Well, that can change. And the way it's changed, you can change the cell dialogue with a very simple thought process, which is love. And BioTouch really is an expression of love. And in that, nothing else really matters. And so if all we're doing is passing on the thought of love to help reduce our stress and our pain, we could transform the world truly, on every part of the planet.
In true sense, heal the world.
That's the goal. That's why our little logo has these two hands around the globe, is to truly bring healing and compassion to humanity around the world. It's time. It's time.
That said, is this free of cost? Are you charging anything for it, or is there a nominal amount that goes towards, maintaining the nonprofit and the work you do?
Yes. So at our center here, our international headquarters is in Tucson. The whole organization is run by volunteers. I'm not being paid as the executive director. None of our volunteers are being paid. We have certified practitioners around the world. We have them in Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Germany, Switzerland, numerous people around the world, Canada, that are learning BioTouch and then becoming certified to teach it in their countries. We have the manual in numerous languages. So as a foundation, we don't charge for our sessions in Tucson. And then we have very minimal costs, which support the organization. We have to pay for, computers and things like that. So our training, which is just a one-day training, and it's done usually virtually, is merely a $48 fee. And in that, you get the ebook version of the manual that I showed you here that has links to the video. So it's actually easy to teach yourself. And then we go through in the class all the points and we watch you practice them. If people just want to get the ebook version of the manual, that's merely becoming a member, which is only $18. And we send you the training manual, which has links to the video, and it's very easy to teach yourself. Those are really the only fees that we have. And again, those are sort of our fundraising tools to help us continue offering this. And we never turn anyone away. So, if somebody doesn't have the funds, we are happy to share BioTouch. And then I can also, through a Zoom meeting, just go to somebody's home, as I did with a fellow in Spain who was having kidney cancer. And I taught he and his wife just how to do a couple of sets of points right away. And he's let me know recently he's actually feeling much better. So we can actually just come to your home via the internet and just teach you one or 2 points. You don't need the whole system. You might just want to work on a sinus problem or a a pain in a particular arm, we have set for the eyes, ears. We have a set for the brain, for the lungs, blood pressure, those kinds of things. So we can get very specific. And then also you can go to our website, and we have at least 60 different workshops that we've done on particular health conditions with a presentation, and we teach the points there, and those are completely free of charge. So it's easy to learn BioTouch.
Two questions. How long is this training? I mean, if I want to get trained, will it take me 3 months, 2 months, 2 days? What is the duration?
Well, in our online training, it's a 1-day training. And after the first 10 minutes, you've got it. You can do healing work. At the end of the day, you'll have learned all the sets of points, and you're going to be effective immediately. If you want to go on to represent the organization, as we have a center in Turkey, then we go on to a certification program, and that just means that's a 2-day program. And then a lot of us working with you so that you can know the points, so that you can then go out and teach other people. And that's it. So it's very simple to learn. And the minute you learn just a couple of sets of points, you're going to be affected. No doubt. No doubt.
If I'm going to be administering the BioTouch, do I have to calm myself or bring myself to that zone where I am at peace with myself, and then I am able to administer the touch to the patient?
Yeah, like I said earlier, not at all. You can. People always say to me, "What are you thinking about when you're working on me?" And I always say to people, you don't really want to know what I'm thinking. So it's like, you can be thinking about what you're going to have for lunch or your next appointment. The points are what's important. If you do the points, the healing happens. And why that happens, I have absolutely no idea. Everybody has a theory of how energy work is being effective. What we do know from the research, just by doing the points without having to have an intention, that the science has shown interleukin-12 levels, which are immune system responses, go up, and cortisol levels are regulated, and that's our stress hormone. And we found over doing hundreds of people that those were regulated just with a very small amount of time. So intention is not important. That's really important to understand, because so many of these techniques, they tell you center yourself, be focused, and that's not important here.
Just like, mudras in yoga, they have, you hold on to a certain finger for controlling anger or certain, all these things. There are different mudras or different points. I think also maybe the energy points.
Those are tens of thousands of years old, those mudras. And those are great. I've practiced them much on my own. What's nice here is the only mudra we're doing is this. Okay. And interestingly, because if you look at lots of pictures of different spiritual beings since humanity's been there, many of them have their fingers up like this with light coming out. So also when I went to Egypt and talked to one of the elders there at the pyramids, he had the sacred keys to the pyramid, basically. He said that BioTouch was actually an ancient Egyptian healing technique. So, which he said was tens of thousands of years old. So this might have been the mudra back then. And he showed me hieroglyphs with people doing the exact points that we do. So though it might be an ancient technique and maybe these are some kind of a mudra, what's important is we no longer have to know all those religious or philosophical belief systems. It's time for humanity to be able to immediately be able to help one another regardless of what your religious or philosophical belief systems are.
Lovely. So you're just using the 2 fingers, that's it. No magnets, no tools, nothing.
Nothing. Just that. That's why, as you first said, It's just touch. And that's our website, justtouch.com.
Yes, yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Paul, tell me, have you thought of holding camps for maybe the homeless or maybe the people who really need this kind of therapy or work because they can't afford to have regular medical treatment?
That would be an ideal situation. We had a woman who went to, I think it was Madagascar or somewhere she does medical, the woman, the doctor who did our research, and she went into one of these communities out in the forest there, and she was doing BioTouch with them and said, oh, they could really use this. And no, they don't have money. Homeless camp. It would be wonderful to bring touch to the population of humanity that can't afford healthcare. Because we know that if you just do this, regardless of where you are in the social network, you're going to be effective. So that would be hopefully something that is inspired just from this video that gets put out there to humanity. We're always looking for people to learn this, to take this to humanity.
Lovely. We hope that this goes to more and more people and more people are cured. Do you diagnose the problem also, or does a person have to come to you with a diagnosis already in place?
Hey, you have great questions. No, we do not diagnose. That's not even legally allowed to do. And B, there's no need to diagnose. Everybody on the planet wakes up and they give themselves their own diagnosis. I could get up in the morning and go, oh, I look really good today. And then the first person I meet goes, well, you look really tired. Did you get enough sleep? So, just socially, we're always diagnosing each other, let alone we go to the doctor and there's this diagnosis and then you go to this diagnosis. So everybody has more than enough diagnoses. All they need to do is they come, they tell us where they hurt, what's the diagnosis, and then we just touch because it's area specific on the touch points. So no matter what your lung problems are or your lung diagnosis is, it could be cancer, COPD, emphysema, allergies, we would still do the same set of points. There's not a separate.
There's no downside. There's no downside to you touching. For example, a person comes in saying that I'm just feeling uncomfortable. I am not feeling well. And you don't know what the problem is, but you just do what you think should be done.
Yes.
There is no damage done.
Yes, no damage. There's no contraindication. You can't hurt anybody. You can't create disease because we have no intention. We're not trying to manipulate energy. We're not trying to move the energy. We're not trying to have you believe a certain way. We just touch and we let the recipient's body and whatever it is that does healing work take care of itself. And what's interesting? People find their own path to healing. So many times we'll have people say, I'm not going in for that operation. I refuse. And then we start touching around where the problem is. And all of a sudden they say, okay, I think I'm ready for an operation. We also know that people who get BioTouch pre and post-op, their healing time is half the time. So, no, BioTouch can only help. It can't hurt. People could be on a lot of medications. They'll get BioTouch. And so we tell people, work with your doctors because many times people can cut back maybe one pill. That's progress.
That also is a big bonus.
Correct. So yeah, we work with people. And then as people start to feel better, their pains will shift. Their awarenesses about their body will shift. And so we work with them based on what they think they need because, we all know what we need. We've given away our health care to this thing we call the medical profession. Yeah. And it's time for us to work with our doctors, not have to be a victim to them. So BioTouch brings us hope. It brings us hope that we're going to be okay and that we're going to find the resources that we need to be healthy, happy, and loved. That's our birthright.
Yes. Yes, wonderful. Great talking to you, Paul. And I hope BioTouch spreads across the world, and I hope there is more healing happening and there is less disease. I wish you all the very best. I would request you to please share your social media handles on this podcast.
Justtouch.com. And then our social media is BioTouch Healing, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So you can find us with BioTouch Healing pretty much anywhere.
Right. And here's to having more of these volunteers coming to you and learning your technique and spreading healing and happiness everywhere.
We appreciate you sharing our story and for doing the good work that you're all doing. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Here's hoping a world of healing. Here's hoping everybody is disease free and happy. And take care of your stress. Till the next episode, see you all again on CHEZUBA Talks. Bye bye.